Buonasera a tutti, vi ringrazio per esservi collegati anche a nome del professor Picci, il direttore dell'Istituto Confucio all'Università di Padova, che probabilmente si connetterà più tardi. Questa, diciamo, lezione sarà dedicata all'opera di Pechino, che è veramente poco conosciuta e è qualcosa di unico. Poi capirete un po' dalla presentazione della professoressa Ruan il perché è così unica e è un variegato di stili, di teatro, opera, insomma adesso vedremo meglio. La professoressa Ruan, probabilmente alcuni già la conosceranno, è una docente dell'Istituto Confucio all'Università di Padova che insegna lingua e cultura cinese. Ok, possiamo iniziare. Ruan, I give you the floor and I set you as an organizer.
Okay.
Okay, now it's everything up to you.
So can you see more people coming, or we just wait another 5 minutes?
People coming just can get in, so can just enter, so you can just start and talk without any problem.
Okay. I cannot take the floor now. Sorry.
You can.
Okay, I can do it now. Good. So can you hear me, Claudia? Claudia?
Yes, I can hear you and also see the PPT.
So shall we start now?
Okay, you can start now.
Yes. Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. I am Ruan Yihui. I'm going to introduce the Beijing Opera today to you today. And first, I would like to express my great thanks to Claudia Lorenzetta because she has spent a lot of time helping me modify the Italian, translate the Italian words. So I hope that my Italian PPT can help me can help you understand me better. So Jing Beijing Opera is understood as one of the most important symbols in Chinese culture. So it also ranked the heritage of oral and immaterial heritage of humanity by UNESCO in 2022. So where to start? Where do we start? First, I would like to introduce a video for the general introduction.
京剧
《 Jing or Peking opera, is an ancient performance art with a history of 200 years. Jing has 4 kinds of roles, according to different identities and personalities. The lyrics of Jing are performed by singing or rhythmic speaking, accompanied by dozens of musical instruments. Now, Jing still enchants many Chinese people and foreigners with its unique charm.
Jing 句
Here you have a picture. This is the theater of the Golden Hall in Vienna. And this guy in the middle is called Mei Baojiu. He and his students were performing Jing in this one of the most famous theater in the world in 2014. And it is a great coincidence that his father, Mei Langfang, the #1 Jing opera in China, Jing opera, did the same thing 60 years before. So that's to tell that Jing came to the world, to the Europe, more than 60 years ago, and it has been just enjoyed by the people in other worlds ever since. Jing enjoy a lot of #1. First, as there are more than 300 types of opera in China, Jing is the most popular one. These are just 300 types of opera. They vary according to their local dialect. And Jing also enjoy the largest number of the repertoire. There are more than 1,400 works. The audience has the largest population. It can be the people of the refined taste or the people of the common taste. Is there noise?
Yes, okay. That Eleonora Bonazza has the audio open, so there is a noise.
Okay. So the Jing also functions in many ways. It can serve as an entertainment, as a kind of hobby, or to celebrate some important event. So for hobby, some people are not only playing for Jing, but also sometimes they become a mature singer of Jing. We have a special name for this group of people. We call them Piaoyou. Jing, people can enjoy Jing from many different places. It can be a tea house, it can be a farmer's market, it can be a royal theater, or it can even be a private house. And Jing has the most diverse element art artistic elements. It involves literature, poetry, singing and dancing, martial arts, acrobatics, stage art, and costume. So look at this picture. There are different kinds of Jing theater. On the top left is a royal theater. If you have ever visited for the summer period in Beijing, you will find that this is in the summer period. It's a favorite series by Cixi, the queen, the very famous queen in the Qing dynasty. There are several ducks in this theater. So people can enjoy different two operas, Beijing at the same time. In the middle is the tea house and drinking tea and enjoy Jing at the same time. On the top right is a very quite modern theater. So the upper parts of the theaters are for the rich family, rich people. So the poor people can also find their places in Jing. They have just like the very simple theater in the countryside, the open theater in the market, and even they can form their own style of theater in a park. So these group of people, usually they are retired people, and they are called piaoyou. They become a mature singer of Jing. The origin of the Beijing Opera. Beijing Opera enjoy more than 200 years of history. So it started at the 70s, developed in the 80s, and came to the June in 20. The primary form of Jing, or you can say that in Chinese opera, was in Qing and Han dynasty. Okay, there were traditional songs and dances. The typical examples are nuo xi or shouhuo. These are for the sacrifice activity when they worship the god or just to celebrate harvest. Jing came to the stage or came into the theater because of the birth of Yuanzhaji. Yuanzhaji is another type of drama. It just founded in or came into being in Yuan dynasty. A typical example of this drama was Du Yuan. Yuan means injustice. Du is the name of this lady. Okay. And it was written by Wang Hanqing, another milestone figure in Chinese literature. You see, Chinese literature has three important stages, characteristic of three important forms of literature. Tangshi in Tang dynasty, Zongci in Song dynasty, and Yuanqi in Yuan dynasty. Jing directly derived from four local operas. They are Wei Xi, Han Diao, Qin Qiang, and Kun Qi. They are also from different four places. Okay. In Chinese, Ji Qiang, Ji Diao, Qiang, Qu all means opera. They have different names for opera because of different dialects. So look at the map in the China. Look, here we have Anhui, Shaanxi, Jiangsu, okay, and this place. And if we look at the geographic map, you can see that these areas are surrounding the two biggest or greatest rivers in China, the Yellow River and the Changjiang River. And the area around the Yellow River is characteristic of plexo, and people sing or express in a voice quite coarse, quite loud, while the areas around the Changjiang River are mainly formed by plain, and people here sing or express in a voice quite delicate. The melody of Jing owe a great deal to opera. Melody is called Xi Huang, and it's composed of Xi Pi and Er Huang. Xi Pi is the key tone from Qin Qiang. Qin Qiang is a kind of opera in just characteristic as in public show, where the actors just play the puppet show and at the same time they talk and sing to present the character, the figures, and the prop. So they have a style, because they are in the north, so they have a style characteristic of passionate vigor. So usually the key tone for this Qinqiang is La Mi. On the other hand, Er Huang derived from Fei Xi, the style from the south. It is more mild or more dedicated and lower. So its key tones are presso. Kunqu contributes a lot to the stage art of Jing. Okay, Kunqu itself is an even more ancient opera. So it is the mother of Beijing Opera. The booming of Fei Xi, or we can say Anhui Opera, just indicate was a great basis from the birth of Beijing Opera. Okay. Fei Xi became popular because of rapid development economy. And so people doing business in these areas. So they just try to use Beijing Opera as a kind of interaction or entertainment, or to entertain their business partner. So at that time, many theaters were built. They can be family theater or public theater. And altogether with this theater, there are theater groups, or we can say theater groups. And these troops just play Fei Xi to celebrate the birth of somebody, maybe a boy, or the birthday, or the promotion of some officials, or even festival and anniversary. The birth of the Beijing was in the 1790s. There are 4 great troops came from Anhui to the Beijing, the city, the capital of China at the time, and to celebrate the birthday of the Emperor Qianglong. So to cater to the taste of Qianglong, all the people in Beijing, so Fei Xi transformed itself into Beijing Opera. The peak of the Beijing Opera, or Jing, was marked by a voting to form the 4 greatest actors in Jing. They are Mei Langfang, as we have said in the previous PPT. She was in the Golden Horde of Vienna, and Cheng Yanqiu, Dang Xiaoyun, and Xun Huisheng. Okay, let's come to the artistic element of the Beijing Opera. Beijing Opera is a kind of art, or is the most complex or complicated art. It involves literature because most of the topics are covered history, events, folk tales, social life. So they are to advocate the value of integrity, loyalty, kindness, and even feudal purity. It also involves singing. This kind of singing is unlike the singing of pop song. And performance involves the acting, martial arts, and acrobatics. Stage art involve the time or places that not limited to the stage. They have some elements to indicate that the story takes place in the past or at present or in the future. They also have their way to indicate that the story that takes place in this world or in another world, that indicate that these are people that in another world that they are dead people. They have their special kind of music and special band. And another kind of this art form is 念白. It can be a dialogue or monologue if they are very brief with a remix read it. Another typical just characteristic of Jing is their painting face. Okay, this painting face is to indicate the character of the figures and the personality of the figure. Of course, we cannot mix the costumes. The costumes is to indicate the social status, the rank of officials, or the profession of the figure. There are four major artistic forms. They are Canton, we call it Chang, singing, or just Nian, that's called the rhythm lyric, or Zuo, that is performance, and Da, that is fighting. Singing and Chang and Nian can again be classified as the part of singing. It is mainly involved with the pronunciation of the organ, okay, organ pronunciation or organ articulation. And Zuo and Da has something to do with can be classified as the part of dancing, and they involve the physical movement of the body. So we can also just have another 5 skills. These 5 skills involve the mouth, the hands, and the eyes, the body, and the pace. So the actors and actresses have to practice a lot about to use these parts of the body in a very skilled way. Band and instrument. There are 2 types of instruments. Okay, these 3 main instruments, 张弦乐器 and 京胡, can be used for the singing and rhythm, and this 念白, singing and 念白, that is rhythm, the reading. And these 3 instruments is usually for the performance and the fighting. So we will explain them one by one. Singing Singing involves the vocal channel and its ability, its skill to express the singer's or the figure's personality, the emotion, and their inner world, and of course also their characteristics. It is used usually to narrate a story or what happened, what has happened, to describe a place or a person, or even to argue, to condemn. They can express the very different emotions in a very forceful way. Another type is 念白. As I've said, 念白 is a written reading. It can be monologue speaking one by person, or it can be a conversation between two people. So it is rich in sensation, musical sensation, and rhythm sensation. It is a complemental part to singing. Usually, 念白 is used to introduce a figure, the prop, and the inner world. And what's more important, 念白 plays a role of humor. 做 is performance or movement in the stage. 做 usually can just describe a prop. Just for example, when a person walks around the stage in a circle, it is to indicate he traveled a long distance or having a trip. And 做, the gesture in 做 can be usually done in a very aesthetical way, usually round, not very directly. So 做 is to, another function of 做 is to indicate that the actor is going to perform another act. Like example, he is prepared for speaking. When he prepared to speak, he would have to adjust his head or to strengthen his costume. 做 usually use some subject to indicate what they are doing with some vehicles or some method. Like for example, they use the horse whip to indicate that he's riding a horse or riding a horse. This guy using a pedal to indicate he's rolling a ball. Fighting or 打 has something to do with martial art and acrobatics. Okay, 打 again can be divided into two types. One is ability, a skill to fight with arms or without arms. Okay, for example, usually between two people. Another one is the ability that's more involved with acrobatics. So we call it 长子功. Okay, so they involve the somersault or just bow their body. Okay. So the body has to be very flexible. The training of the actors can be very, very tiring and costly in a long time, involving a long period. There are two types of training. In the early part, the relationship between the teacher and the students are apprenticeship. Usually, the master, that is the master and apprentice. Usually the master, sometimes at the same time the boss of the theater group, went to the poor family. Usually it is the poor family that would like to let their children to be involved into this career because it was very hard and difficult. So they went to the poor family to choose the children. And so when the parents promise or agree to give their children to this master, they in some sense sell the children or sell their guardianship to the boss or to the master. They sign the contract, and then illegally they cannot claim their children back. And that's when, no matter they will die in an accident, they claim the school, they cannot bring them to the civil court. In some cases, the parents get some pay from the theater group if their children can do well on the stage. The children will first receive training in acrobatics. Later, they learn how to sing and learn the gesture. The later part of training is usually in school. It's a system of teacher and student, especially after 1911. First, the children are trained to perform, but at the same time, later they learn how to read and write. So a typical day for school, a child in this kind of school, they have to get up as early as 5 o'clock, and then they have to train themselves in the day, also receive education like learn how to read and write. Okay. And in the evening, if they are qualified, they can perform on the theater or in the theater. You see, in the past, because the poor children are not very well educated, they cannot read and write. So they receive the training, especially learn the words of songs from their master orally. But later, when they in the school training, when they have the ability to write and read, they can learn both from the teacher and from textbooks. There are 4 key roles in Jing, depending on their identity and personality. There are Sheng, which are male roles, and Dan, female roles, Jing, roles usually male, with painting faces, and actor, comic actor, we call it Chou. Okay, we will go through it one by one. Fourth is the female role. They are Dan. There are altogether 4 types. They can be Qingyi or Zhengdan. These are most important ones. They are women and ladies with high moral value. So the stage are mainly on singing. The second type is Hua Dan. They are usually young girls. Okay, they are complementary to Qingyi. Hua in Chinese means flowers. Flowers is used for decoration. So actually they are decoration for the Qingyi. And Wu Dan, women with martial art. Their key skill is to fight. So Wu here means military or fighting. The last one is Lao Dan. Lao Dan are senior women. Senior women. Lao means old. So Qingyi, as I said, is the most important role in Jing. They are usually young ladies, have the dignity and elite background, and they have good virtue. They just focus on singing. Their voice are pure and free. And they move, or their performance are usually gracious. Okay. One typical element of their costume is Xiu. With the Xiu, they make their movement much more exaggerate or more elegant or beautiful. So here is Xiu. Xiu is used to express elegance or exaggerate emotion, or to exaggerate the effect, or reinforce the effect of the gesture. They are used to express their emotions such as anger or affection of someone, or used to say hello, so you say to hide himself because he just to say show that she's a shy girl. And these pictures indicate that this lady or this lady is very determined to make a decision. So with this gesture, we can see her determination. So for this one is extreme connection. The 水袖 is a connection between the lady and the girl and the boy. Okay, the girls try to or pretend to separate from the boys, but he leaves the 水袖 to the boy. So this indicates her inner world. He pretends to say goodbye to the boy, but in fact, inner world, she doesn't want to say goodbye. So here we are going to have a video clip. This is a typical example of Qing. Before we enjoy the clip, I think we have better understand the background. This is called Li Hua Song. It's a song selected from Jing, Beijing Opera called 大唐贵妃. The figure, the key character or the heroine is called Yang Guifei. Yang Guifei is imperial concubine in Tang Dynasty. This is also about tragedy, about the romantic love between Tang Ming Huang, the emperor, and Yang Guifei, his concubine. Okay, his favorite concubine. Yang Guifei is a very important figure in Chinese history. Together with other three, they were called the four beauties in Chinese history. So we will go over the story quickly. Yang Guifei was born to be very, very beautiful. She was so beautiful that she was selected and to get married with the prince. But unfortunately, the emperor was enchanted by her charm. So emperor fell in love with her. So he just tried to take the son-in-law from his son and make her become his concubine. There are a lot of difficulties by doing so, but finally he managed to just have her as a concubine. So he liked her so much that he created a rank for the concubine, the highest rank, especially that's called Gui Fei. Gui Fei is the rank of the concubine. So he was called Yang Gui Hui. Okay. They were saying they love me, love my dog. So Tang, the emperor, also not only loved the concubine, but also loved his family. So he just granted positions, a lot of honors to her cousin and to her sister. And the emperor and the concubine, they spend a lot of time having parties and dinners, dancing and singing. Yang Guifei is a great dancer, but the emperor spent too much time on Yang Guifei that ignore her duty as an emperor. So that caused a great resentment in the court. So there was a rebellion. and the royal guard or royal army refused to defend the emperor, except the emperor ordered the concubine to be executed, because they believed that all this trouble was caused by the concubine. So between the choice of the throne and the beloved one, the concubine, the emperor chose his throne. So he ordered his beloved one, his concubine, his favorite concubine, be suckled in this place, Ma Wei Po. So Ma Wei Po becomes a very famous historical place. Here we are going to understand the words of the song. Okay. I can also translate it into English. Here's Brom's beautiful spring rain. It fades into soil along with spring scent. So this too is to describe the beauty of the flowers, but it is not only for the flowers. It actually refers to Yang Guifei, the concubine, and his misfortune fate. So the second and the third, and the second and the third, the fourth, and the fifth are all about their love to each other. And the last two, legendary romance is still a mystery. Legendary romance is still in our memory. So the key words are yes memory or yes powdery. Okay, that's the 千古谜 or 千古诗. The year's mysterious is about the ending of Yang Guifei. There are lots of stories about the fate of Yang Guifei. It still becomes mysterious. The pondering, the insight into this story can be reduced into two questions. The question is the emperor faithful to love, or is he simply addicted to sex? And for Yang Guifei, is she devoted to her lover or simply to his power? Let's imagine that her lover is not an emperor. So does she actually choose the emperor as her husband rather than her younger husband, the son, the prince? So there's something we have to think about. Okay, so we are going to have another video. This the song. This is very beautiful. It is also very popular. This is the flower, so indicate the beauty of the concubine. And this is the fallen flowers. It indicates the depth of the beauty. So there is a saying in Chinese that beauties always have mixed fortune. So their mixed fortune can be also their beauty. is the real concubine, his child. Very, very important. But don't make mistake about it. The actor is a gentleman. So in the past, especially in the past, actors are usually male, so they can play the role of female, young, beautiful young lady. Here we come to the second tang, is hua tang. Hua tang are usually young ladies. They are not married. Okay. Here, as they have characteristics of very vivid and direct, full of life, and they are usually made of serving the young lady of a noble family. The young lady is usually very well educated, and they can usually the maids are not married. Okay, very close to the young lady. They can also be just married women. Their costume, unlike the Qing or Zhengtang, their costume is short, and they don't have Xiu. They just have the handkerchief. They not focus on singing. They are focused on nian bai, this written reading. This nian bai is just to image or to act out the storyline. No, they don't usually sing. So their key performance skills are reading, and this performance. Okay, these are the pictures of the men, and they can also be women that have a pitchy voice or tone of voice. Okay. Here again, I'm going to introduce another example of this hua dang. Once again, we have to understand the story. This is called mai shui, sell water. They are all together 3 characters. One is Li Yangui. Li Yangui was born into a rich family and was engaged with Wang Guiying, a daughter of another rich family. So in ancient China, usually they have to have a matched family background. But unfortunately, this family was just undergo a kind of injustice, and the family property was confiscated. So Yan Gui has to find refuge in Guiying's family, but the father was very snobbish, so the father refused to help him. Okay. The father maybe was thinking about finding her daughter a new husband, which is rich but not poor as Li Yangui. And the father also want to break the engagement, but Guiying, as they should have a high morality, was refused to listen to her father. And Yan Gui, because he was refused by Guiying's father, he has to sell water by Li. So here we have the maid of Guiying and the maid. This is about the conversation of the Guiying and maid. Guiying, as we know, they usually Qing, So she was very reserved, timid, and have to behave well, but he wants to maintain the engagement. So he quarreled with her father and was very upset. And her maid was very close to her and very understanding. So she understands what the host, what the queen wants. So he tried to take queen to the backyard of the house and try to say something to make queen happy. So what did she say to make him happy? Oh, this is what she said. Okay, this is about the 4 questions. It's about what kind of mirror is used by a beauty, what is applied to hair to look tidy, what is applied to face to look healthy, and what is applied to lips to look sexy. So these are answers. Okay. Lingua mirror is used by the beauty. Huihua oil is applied to hair to look tidy. Haohua powder is applied to the face to look healthy. And Xinhua rock is applied to lips to sexy. So all this is about how a young girl tries to make herself up with all kinds of cosmetics. And another question and answer is, what flower is for the bride and groom in the West? What flowers is used to decorate the neck? What flowers is carved on the bed? And what flowers is embroidered on the pillow for the head? And what flowers is printed on the quilt? And these are the answers. So this part is to describe a very perfect wedding or for a bride. So that's also the stream of Guihua. So Guihua actually was thinking about a marriage with her Queen Sheng. So here we are going to the video. Just a moment. Can you help me? Some problem with the play of the video. Just a moment. Let's try to find the video. Okay, can you have it? The video, the new video?
Yes.
Okay, good. this is a very typical example of nian and zuo. Okay, so the mei just provide a very beautiful picture for the future of this of the young lady. And so just go back to the PPT. Can you see the PPT again?
Yes.
Okay, good. Now here we have dang. Here is wu dang or lao dang. Okay, as I said before, the wu is about the military, so it involves mainly with the martial arts, and lao dang is winning of old age. They are usually respectable, and their key skill is singing. So these are pictures of wu dang. Again, another video to give you to see what the wu dang really is. Okay, you can see that there is a big difference between the Beijing Opera Theater and the concert in the Western countries. When you go to the Italian theater or concert, you have to keep silent all the time, although you would like to say, how braver. But in Beijing Opera Theater, when you feel good, you can say, how good. So there's a big encouragement for the actors and actresses. This is a lao dang, okay? The way the old women look like. Okay, then we have Sheng. Sheng is 0. Okay. So again, there are 3 types of Sheng. They are lao Sheng, senior male, and xiao Sheng, young, handsome guys, and wu Sheng, or again, have something to do, have a lot to do with the martial art. So this is lao Sheng, xiao Sheng, and wu Sheng. Lao Sheng, okay, they are usually male, they're respectable male, with a long beard. Okay, their social position usually dignified, and they are usually have a characteristic of being gentle and well cultured. A typical example is Zhuge Liang in the scheme della città, the empty city, Confucio. Again, Confucio is a very popular Beijing opera in China. It's also a well-known story in history. So this is called Zhangkou. Zhangkou is always worn by some male role. Okay. And the color of the Zhangkou to indicate the age, as you can understand that black indicates that young guy, and this is the middle age, and this is the senior people. for the senior people. And usually they are composed of three parts. The front part from the mouth and the two parts, side parts from the ear. But sometimes they have three parts. These three parts, 让口, indicate this one is the comic figure. And sometimes we have short 让口 to indicate that this figure is direct, brave, but it's easy to get angry. 小生 is very young, handsome guy. Okay. So as we can see that first the key skill is to sing. So they sing with a voice of actual voice of 3 voice. This voice is said to present the voice of the adolescent. The costume can be elaborate, elegant, or can be simple. It depends on the background, the social status of the figure. What's very interesting that when there is a 小生 appear, there is always a love story with another young lady. 武生 can be involved with the fighting. Okay, so they have to train very, very hard in acrobatic and in martial arts. But their voice can be natural. When they sing, they seldom sing, but sometimes when they sing, they can use the natural voice. Okay, this is another story and another example for this 武生. Okay, the story is called miniature 三岔口. This is a very typical example of fighting. There's only one table and a chair on the stage. No dialect, no singing, all depends on the skill of fighting. The story happened during Song Dynasty, and Ren Tang Hui has a secret mission and have to stay a night in an inn. This inn was quite close to a place called Zhangchakou. But the innkeeper mistook him as an enemy and tried to kill him during the night. To fight violently in the dark, but finally the misunderstanding was cleared. Okay, let's watch. Can you see the video? Can you hear the noise and see the video?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, good. Let's go. This is called 做 for form. The innkeeper tried, the door is locked, but the innkeeper tried to open the door with the knife, the knife. Okay, so let's move on. Now we come to the scene, the face painting. Is male. They are usually male. Okay. Jing literally means clear or clean, but they indicate different, the opposite. So there's a strong concept with the literal meaning and the thing they try to refer. So the faces are heavily painted. They use the four strong voice, exaggerated gestures, and they usually wear a kind of shoes, high heel shoes, very special. So look at the shoes. And so they represent the most strong characteristics on the stage of Beijing Opera. They are usually figures of like general command, patriarchal heroes, legendary rebellions, or even gods and other mythological characters. So altogether, again, there are three types of Jing. One is Sheng Jing or Wen Jing. They are persons civil, and they have nothing to do with the military. They focus on singing and they have a natural voice. And Fu Jing is less important, and Wu Jing is usually involved with the fighting. So this is, I think, the most symbolic of the Beijing Opera, the painting face. The painting face was originally from the mask, that is used for sacrifice activities. So these masks are not only some elements for the Beijing Opera or Jing, they can be independent art. So these are pictures that can be found in the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York. So they really look very beautiful. Okay. Or painting faces are the picture of the inner world. So they usually use to suggest a character or characteristics that of the figure. And it's easy for you to know that he's a good guy or a bad guy or evil guy. So from the mask or from the painted face. Depending on the color, there are basically 15 patterns, but according to the patterns, they can vary to more than 1,000 types. So red indicates bravery and loyalty. Guanggong is a typical example. And black means justice and integrity. But the typical example is Bao Gong. Bao Gong is a historical symbol of justice. And Yango or white. White means this guy is evil and cunning. Okay. Like Chou, a very famous historical politician in Chinese history. And yellow means fierce and brutal. Blue means bravery and intelligence. And white green means very dangerous and violent. So again, we are going to see another video. We'll show another video. This is Da Long Pao. It is played both by two roles. One is Lao Dang. As we say that Lao Dang is senior female, and Wen Jing, civil thing. Again, we have to understand the story. This is a story about how a queen was done unjustice, and finally justice is done. And the queen Li, the feminine name is Li, gave birth to a prince, but the jealous concubine Liu was very jealous, so he managed to replace the baby with a fox. Okay, and at that time, if you give birth a fox, you are considered to be evil. And Liu tried to kill Li, the queen, and Li finally escaped and hid himself in a place for 20 years. And finally, when the emperor and his son became the emperor, he returned back to the Paris. Bao Gong, just now you said the Jing, the lord of Jing, tried to reveal the truth about the identity of the queen, but the emperor refused to believe that. So Bao, and then he said that he believed that Bao was telling a lie, was lying. So he ordered Bao to be executed. And the mother of the emperor Li, that is the queen, and the mother of the emperor, was to reveal the truth. And he was angry at the emperor and ordered Bao to punish the emperor with a stick. Okay, so how can a government official punish an emperor? It seems it's not possible, but that's what. So this is the singing of Lao Zhang, the senior female, and the mother of the emperor tried to explain or to reveal the secret, that how she was done injustice and how she escaped and how she tried to find her way back to the court. And then he began to he became very angry and just condemned the emperor. He asked Bao Gong to punish her son, the emperor, with a stick. Okay. So how does she manage to do that? It seems it was possible. Let's watch. So Bao Gong, the Jing, the royal Jing, have found he was in a very difficult position. So Bao Jing was very smart. Instead of beating the emperor, because that would be a big crime for him. So he chose to beat the robe of the emperor. There's a smart way to solve the problem. So finally, we have the Chou. Chou is to produce humor or comic effect. So Chou so reflects a kind of traditional belief that the combination of ugly and the laughter, where both we will combine these two together, we can drive away the evil spirit. So again, Chou can be classified into three types. The Wen Chou, Wu Chou. Wu is something to do with military. Wen is to do with civil, and Nu Chou is female comedy. So these are Wen Chou, and this is Wen Chou, and this is Nu Chou. Wen Chou are usually involved with a lot of businesses. Wu Chou is that the most difficult one, and then it has to combine the skill of performance, comic performance, and acrobatic skill, usually with a very strong voice. So again, we are going to have another story about this Wu Chou, the role of Wu Chou. The Zheng Jia Wu Da Lang. Wu Da Lang is a very famous historical figure in Chinese history. Wu Dalang has a younger brother, who's called Wu Song. Wu Song became a hero because he has killed a dangerous tiger. So Wu Dalang actually when the brothers were young, their parents died and leave both of them orphans. So the elder brother Dalang, Wu Dalang, managed to bring the younger brother up as a son. So when he heard about the success of the brother, he was very proud of his brother because they were separated for many years. So he tried to claim back his brother. But along the way, he discovered a copy. Someone disguised himself as another Wu Dalang, because it's a great honor to have a brother as a hero. So this is to show how Chu Dalang and Fourth Dalang try to claim himself to be the true one.
慌忙寻找兄弟武二郎，寻找兄弟武二郎。哎。 你胆子可真不小。我实话对你说，武松是我弟啊，我是他亲哥哥。是他打虎的真本事，都是我。小花脸本事都是我教的，我的武艺高。
Okay, the real 武大郎 is a dwarf. So the fourth one, when he stands up, he reveals himself to be the fourth one because he was a normal man. So here we are. There's almost all about the Beijing Opera, Jing. Beijing Opera is a very, very traditional opera. And like the other traditional culture, it has been faced with great challenge when the world is become more and more modern. Okay, there are two key questions. Actually, there are one. That can Beijing opera survive? Because young people like pop music much more. And how to be survived? Maybe we can find answer in another video like this. So from this, we can see that great interest can be found in the little one. And we owe a lot to the parents and teachers. They try to just arouse interest in these young little ones. And so there's a hope for the Beijing Opera to Beijing. Others also have another way to put forward the Jing, the Beijing Opera. They try to combine the popular one, the pop songs with the elements of Beijing Opera.
气氛中学京剧的声韵，1分钟学京剧的声韵，眉上晨训，声声娇媚痴情。苦与尽，照清水袖不停。梅兰芳的戏唱，掌声雷鸣。乘烟秋月长，归月伤心。街头唱着万籁迎北京，回想那些名绝的戏曲，我只不过想唱唱戏给你听，只是因为你。我只不过想唱戏给你听，用我的声音一出戏，只是愿意能够喜爱更甜。只不过想唱戏给你听，谁给我回应？拍拍手，散场之后，下一个继续，才发现我不是上小雨，我醉。
So this young guy is a young singer. He is also a young composer of music, pop music. He's a singer of pop music. And we can see that he successfully just combined the pop music with the elements of Beijing Opera, Jing. So we can say that Jing is old, but we hope to be young. And Jing belongs to China. And as all of you come here to enjoy music, Jing, and to listen to my lecture, I still believe that Jing does not only belong to China, but also belong to the whole world. And I hope the whole world's interest in Jing can save Jing. That's all today. That's all for today. Thank you for your listening. Bye-bye. So do you have any question about this Beijing Opera? So if we don't, then you can type your questions on the chat room. If you know, then we will say goodbye here. No?
Ok.
Okay.
Yes, if se nei prossimi giorni o comunque elaborando tutte le nozioni che la professoressa Ruan ci ha spiegato oggi ci fossero delle domande, potete pure inviarle anche alla mail della segreteria e poi io le girerò direttamente alla professoressa in modo... c'è una domanda. I would like to know how long is a show in the opera?
Okay, it usually is 2 hours. It's a whole one. Okay. 2 or more than 2 hours. So just now I just choose some video clips, just very typical parts from each role or each type of performance. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Ruan. Ci vediamo al prossimo incontro. Stiamo elaborando un po' di incontri sulla cultura cinese in modo da, insomma, spaziare un po' quegli argomenti. Quindi, Professor Ruan, there is another question. Is it possible to see the Chinese opera in Europe?
you can see the YouTube from in Europe. There are a lot of videos of Beijing Opera in Europe.
Let's try to bring it here in Padua, maybe.
Yeah, I hope so. But it is almost impossible because the truth of the theoretic truth is a large one. So there's maybe more than maybe 50 people.
Okay.
So if we can bring the simple one, they will be fine.
Yeah. Ok, se non ci
Okay.
sono altre domande, vi ringrazio molto per la vostra presenza and thank you very much, Professor Ruan.
Thank you very much for all the listeners. And, okay.
Okay.
Okay. So bye bye. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Another one. Okay. Bye bye.
Bye.
再见。
拜拜，谢谢老师，拜拜。
再见。